Where do babies come from? How could cancer be cured for good? These two popular questions are surprisingly related, though we were made to think otherwise. But first things first. A long time ago, when the world was kinder and nicer and the blue sky was still keeping our dreams and hopes, people reproduced in an easy and simple way from the internal organs of their parents. As God once created Eve from Adam's rib, people could create new people from their own lungs, stomachs, esophagus, or glands. Each child was a unique creature formed in a placenta next to some important body organ, because every organ serves its own important purpose. So, babies from lungs placentas were called pulmonary babies, and those from the brains were called, you guessed it, brain babies. And every child, from the very beginning of their life, felt that their life has meaning as every organ in human body has its meaning. You might say, for each child, their organ was in a sense their first mentor. These placentas, these ancient wombs, were nothing more than tumors. Procreation required cutting out the tumor, and because of that, back then, people had remarkable surgical talents. After cutting the tumor, the parent had to incubate it for some time, so that after hatching, the baby comes out healthy and ready to live. And babies hatched, were nurtured, grew up, and finally became mature enough to be parents themselves. In this era, every human child had one and only one biological parent. Everything necessary for the formation of the features of the baby was contained within one person, in his or her body. It might sound odd, but sexual relations during this period of original multi-organ placentas existed and was very common. People who gave birth to children from their incubated tumors enjoyed having sex with each other. For ancient people, it was a very important form of the daily communication, everyday interaction. Emotional, vivid, but still interaction. For them, sex was an exchange of impressions and ideas, a talk about life, whether it is beautiful or awful. In general, originally people used sex for pleasure, networking and emotional intimacy, and people were sociable in this regard. Master surgeons, who were able to artfully cut out their own tumor, ancient people were masters of sexual interaction. And sex, to a large extent, ensured social harmony, calmed and appeased people, allowed them to feel each other and not be self-centered egomaniacs. As a child was an individual project of each person, and only that person was responsible for his or her child, sexual harmony was a public affair. And the culture surrounding sexual interaction was quite complex. People understood each other at a glance. They knew how to listen to a person next to them and how to recognize their own purposes. As you can imagine, language communication didn't catch on yet and was quite rudimentary, but sexual interaction ruled the day. Everything changed with the emergence of language and the words. This was the first time humans got the chance to understand not only sex, and not only their tribesmen. This is when humans, for the first time, heard the whispering of the evil. The evil obtained the communication channel. Now it could talk directly to the humans and interfere with their lives. The world full of evil penetrated human soul and settled down in it. Nobody really knows who it was. Almighty star meagers, underground serials, great constables, or the white Satan himself. But someone altered our nature, putting reproductive features into our organs of sexual interaction. Someone put ovaries and testicles into us, and someone made us believe this simple yet outrageous idea. Sex is necessary for procreation, and procreation became the original purpose of sex. But the evil did not stop there. Oh no! Traditional way of making babies was erased from human culture. We were told that tumors could be malignant and we have to cut them out and throw away as soon as possible. Surgical skills fizzled out, and now surgeons are this private club with its secrets and codes. Cancer was invented as this new disease which could affect all human organs. Cancer cells allegedly multiply uncontrollably and cause damage to tissues. In actuality, that is the process in which placentas form in the parent's body. Now the pain of those who are suffering from cancer and manipulations with their death make parents get rid of their own babies at an early age. Cancer patients have a sinful abortion when they decide to do chemo or undergo the surgery to remove their tumor. After all, cancer is just our real children, the true humanity seeking to get out to this marvelous world. Of course, these patients have no idea, and they are convinced that babies are brought in a cloth bundle by sex. And thus, Starmingers or underground serials made sure that having babies became a part of social life and was no longer an individual responsibility of a person. Having made a child a product of two, just think about it, two parents, they instilled in people confusion and anxiety. Now, to continue the human race, it is necessary not only to live and want to live, but to engage yourself in sexual interaction. If previously sexual interaction harmonized relationships, gave exceptional pleasure and knowledge about other people, now, when it is fused with existential and reproductive goals, sex, in its original form, is dead. Any innocent copulation is tainted with reproductive and existential connotations. Sexual practices stop being a language, sex stopped being a conversation. It became anything else, a ritual, a performance, a worship, a taboo, a sin, a shame, a devilish and a divine thing. And this bunch of additional meanings ruined sex as a form of real-life communication. So we were made to believe that cancer is nightmare and death, and sex is something that deserves some special astonishment, embarrassment, or deification. And harmony was broken. We were taken over by the fear of cancer, and we lost the ability to thoughtfully communicate without the tyranny of words. We cannot cure cancer, because one cannot cure life. And children, real children, come precisely from cancer. Although we are not children of cancer, we are children of sex. We can still restore the balance, bring people their harmony and their joy of life. People don't have to be afraid of cancer. People don't have to be afraid of getting knocked up. Women need not to get pregnant and give birth. Men shall have the right to bear their own children. Study to be surgeons and neatly cut out your own cancer in the 9th month. And then, within several months, you should incubate the placenta every day before it starts moving from the inside. We should bring back our true nature. Every person can have their own child. That's why God gives us cancer. Children are not the product of social interaction. Children are the responsibility of each individual. There could be only one parent. One parent. No second parents. People were granted sex so they could communicate and express their emotions in straightforward manner, through body language, through hormonal waves. Sex shouldn't be the new cancer. It shouldn't be the source of new people. Babies formed in the uterus. It's so unnatural. We all should give up the idea that sex could be nothing but a form of interesting interaction. Long live sex without shame and worship. Long live the magnificent civilization of cancer people.